From a full team resurrection ability to an invincible sound sphere, Marvel rival support characters have some extremely confusing abilities. So, to make your life easier, we've compiled every single support ability in the game, showing you tricks, advice, and hidden features you did not know about. Even if you don't play support, I promise watching this video will make you a way better player than you were before. Starting with the abilities, we have Adam Warlock. He has 250 health, and his weapon Quantum Magic does 50 damage per hit and can shoot 2 times a second. It can critical hit, making it more worthwhile to headshot. However, his charge-up attack can shoot up to 5 bullets, does not headshot, and each pellet does 38 damage. It's best to open with a cluster and then finish off with a headshot. His primary ability, Avatar Livestream, is a 2-charge healing burst that heals for 95 on up to 2 people. However, a single charge takes 6 seconds. And you only get 2, so use them wisely. Additionally, if Adam takes damage, you can self-heal, and it heals 35 plus the initial 95. His next ability, Soul Bond, which when placed on an ally, forces the damage you take and the ally it's placed on to be split between you, up to 250 damage at once. It also heals 10 per second, and the bond lasts 6 seconds. And lastly is his passive, which allows him to revive every 105 seconds. Adam Warlock's ultimate, Karmic Revival, is a fairly easy to understand ultimate. When he uses this for 10 seconds upon casting, any teammates that die within 30 meters of Adam and his ult will be revived. During the spell time, his ult monitors for any fallen allies, including ones that have already died, meaning that as long as the death timers are still up for your allies, they can be revived. Upon revival, they receive 100 health and have a small period of invincibility time. Additionally, it has an energy cost of 5,000, both healing and damaging build to this. Next is Cloak and Dagger, who both together have 250 health. These two do function separately from each other, but share the same health pool. All you need to know is that Dagger is the healer, Cloak is the damager. With that said, we're going to start with Dagger. Dagger's primary fire is a homing projectile. However, the damage is pretty bad, only doing 15 per hit. Its main use will be healing, as it heals 10 per hit with an AoE heal of 18. So each burst can heal the target you hit for 28, and anyone around them for 18. Additionally, it fires 2.27 times per second, and it can bounce off of walls. So your ally does not have to be in your line of sight. If you throw it at a wall, it will bounce off and try to home to them. While Cloak's primary is pretty simple. It does 75 damage per second, has infinite ammo, and is not a projectile. The only ability Cloak and Dagger share is the ability to swap between characters. Swapping between Cloak and Dagger is an instant cast. With Dagger, her 2 main abilities are her Veil of Light Force and Dagger Storm. Dagger Storm is a small spell field that heals you when inside. It heals for about 55 a second and is a great way to live in 1v1. It has a 12-second cooldown though, so use it wisely. While her Veil of Light Force casts a window that travels forward, healing 45 to each person and boosting healing by 15% for 4 seconds. However, Cloak's abilities are more for damage, as his first primary ability, Terror Cape, is similar to Veil of Light Force, but instead of healing, enemies struck with it are blinded for 1.5 seconds, and the damage they take is increased by 20% for 3 seconds. Additionally, it's on a 12-second cooldown and does 55 base damage. His second main ability, however, is Dark Teleportation. When used, Cloak and everyone within 10 meters of him will become invisible and get a movement boost. However, it does have a hidden ability that isn't really described on the website. When people are invisible, they are immune to attacks entirely. So ultimates that would one-shot you like Iron Man Pulse can be easily avoided by right-clicking right before impact, as the invisibility lasts for about a second. Additionally, Cloak can fly into the air using this ability if you hold space while using it. It's great for repositioning to high grounds or getting away if you need to. Next, we have Cloak and Dagger. And let me tell you, as a Cloak and Dagger main, no one is using this ultimate right in the metal ranks. First and foremost, what their ult is a 3-burst dash that throws an AoE area that does 2 main things. Put simply, heal and damage. It does both at the same time. However, a lot of people use this defensively to try and keep enemies out while healing allies, but it's actually much better used to initiate a fight, especially in scenarios where you are the attacking team, as the healing does 220 per second, and if you combine this with other ultimates, you can easily walk into controlled spaces. The energy cost is 3,400. Jeff, however, with a base health of 250, his primary and secondary fire is as follows. His left click is a projectile beam that heals for 140 per second and can heal multiple allies at once. As far as I know, there is no disparity between the healing allies receive. At least the website doesn't say that, and I couldn't see the difference when healing in the range. While his secondary is also a projectile that does damage from the right click, doing 25 damage per projectile and 40 damage AoE bursts. You can rack up more damage by firing it into more than one enemy, but it's also good for 1v1s as you can kill most enemies in 4 hits. For his primary abilities, things are a little bit different. His left shift ability is the ability to swim in the ground and on walls. His hitbox is also reduced and he gets self-heal. However, the thing most players don't know is that Jeff can press his left shift while still airborne to fall faster. For his E ability, he can throw bubbles. However, they're actually better to use for yourself, but you can throw them out quickly for allies if they need them, as they do heal 85 each, and they boost the healing received. There are 6 charges, with each one taking 6 seconds per bubble to recharge. And then lastly is his passive, which reduces the damage that Jeff can take from critical hits by 50%. Jeff's ultimate is probably one of the most hated in the game, but it's really not that good. Upon use, Jeff will swim underground and activate a large 10-meter circle. Anyone in the circle when the animation is up will be swallowed, both allies and enemies. Once swallowed, no one can escape, including allies. Jeff has to spit you out. There is a separate keybind for both. Any allies that Jeff swallows will heal for 225 every single second, while enemies will take 25 damage per second. The ult duration is 6 seconds from the time you use it. The best way to use Jeff's ult is to swallow enemies and spit them off the map. Aim at the ground when firing people off the map. Even people with movement abilities will have a difficult time, as the momentum from him spinning them will make the timing really tricky. The only people who can probably get away are people like Wanda with her fly or Hela. If you absolutely have to, you can jump off with them. Just make sure you spit your teammates out first. The energy cost is 4,000. Like all healers, this includes healing and damage. Loki's base health is 250, and he can create copies of himself that also have 250. Additionally, he can right-click to become invisible. This invisibility has no time limit, and he heals for 20 a second while in it. But any actions other than casting Devious Exchange, reloading, or casting Doppelganger will make him visible and give him a 15-second cooldown on it. His main attack heals enemies or damages allies for 40 healing and 30 damage respectively. His clones can also do this as well, and they aim the direction that you are shooting. And to summon those clones, you can use his primary ability, Doppelganger. He has 2 charges, with each charge taking 12 seconds to fully recharge. By pressing his secondary ability, he can swap places with the clones, and can also do this while invisible. There is a 15-second cooldown on the swap. Second to last is his healing spell field, which converts incoming damage by 30% into health and heals for 100 per second. You can break the stone that casts it, and it only has 100 health. But it also lasts 5 seconds on a 25-second cooldown, so you could just wait it out. Lastly is his normal melee, which does 30. But if you hit someone from behind, it does 45. Loki's ultimate is super easy to understand. You can copy anyone, whether it's your teammate or the enemy. Activating this will immediately give you their kit, and you will automatically have their ultimate at full charge. It lasts for 15 seconds and has an energy cost of 3,700. Additionally, using some ultimates will actually reset the timer for Loki. Like for example, if you copy Luna Snow, wait a while for the timer to tick down, and then use her ultimate, the ultimate seems to reset. Luna's base health is 275. Her main attack is 3 individual projectiles that heal for 20 each, for a total of 60. There is fall off, and she can fire 2 bursts of 3 twice per second. So her healing is roughly 120 per second, but she can critical hit enemies when she's damaging. So theoretically, if you hit all headshots, you could do up to 240 damage per second. Her primary abilities are Share the Stage and Ice Arts. While Ice Arts is active, Luna Snow can heal 75 per round and damage 50 per round. She also gains a self-heal, and the duration is 6 seconds with a 5-second cooldown. Share the Stage, however, gives a passive healing boost of 35% and stays on the target you keep it on. The person that has it will have a small snowflake around them, and they heal for any amount of healing you give to other people at 35%. Most people like to put it on a tank, but it's actually better to put on a dive DPS, as healing the tank will give the dive DPS a ton more health due to the 35%. Her other ability, Absolute Zero, is a 2.7 second stun freeze that does 5 damage. Lastly are her 2 passives, starting with Smooth Skate. When Luna Snow runs forward for half a second, she will get a speed boost and can jump higher. Her second and last passive, Cryo Heart, applies when Absolute Zero or Ice Arts is activated. She gets a 30 per second passive heal on herself. And speaking of Luna, her ultimate is a little confusing, but pretty straightforward. Upon casting, it gives a shield value of 250 and grants 200 health. Additionally, you can swap between 2 modes, damage and healing. While blue, she's healing, indicated by the larger yellow bar. While purple, she's damage boosting. She heals for 250 a second and damage boosts for 40%. Next is Mantis, with a base health of 275. When you play her, you'll notice these 4 symbols. These are called life orbs. Nearly everything in her kit functions off of these life orbs. Her primary fire does 50 damage and can headshot for up to 100. She can fire 2.5 times per second, and there is no fall off at all, which is insane, by the way. Additionally, if you use an ability in Mantis' kit that uses a life orb, if you headshot someone, it will regenerate a life orb. With that said, her heal is a right click that consumes 1 life orb. No aim required, it heals 55 immediately, but it does heal for 20 a second over 8 seconds after. So it's best to heal an ally 1 time, not twice, once, and only heal them again if they absolutely need it, because the healing over time does not stack. Healing again will just reset the timer. Now, for her primary abilities. Mantis does have a sleep ability called Spore Slumber that stuns the enemy for 3.5 seconds and does 10 damage on impact. However, people don't actually know this for some reason, but you can stop the sleep. An illusion of Mantis will appear behind the slept enemy. So if the enemy's teammates shoot the illusion, it can and will wake them up. It only takes 100 damage as well. The ability itself has a 15-second cooldown. Her next abilities are 2 buff abilities, Natural Anger and Allied Inspiration. Both are buffs, put pretty simply. When she buffs herself, she can do an additional 12% damage. She does get other effects, but it's not from the ability, it's from her passive. With that said, she does get a slight heal over time effect that heals 12.5 a second for 8 seconds, while her ally buff also gets the same heal and buffs, and gives the ally 12% as well. And last but not least is her passive, Nature's Favor. As mentioned before, she gets passive healing and a slight movement boost. But this is Nature's Favor, not the abilities, because when consuming a life orb, she gets the passive healing. However, if she is out of combat, she gets a movement boost, moving 8.5 meters per second instead of her usual 6. Mantis' ult, Soul Resurgence, is somewhat similar to Luna. Upon using it, it gives you 150 health per second, but gives a one-time heal upon use of 200 to her and her allies. It also gives a movement boost to everyone around her at 3 meters per second. This does stack with normal movement boosts, so characters like Black Panther, who have 7 meters per second, will be slightly faster than people like Jeff, who have a default speed of 6. Additionally, any healing past max health converts to overhealth with a cap of 100. The ult lasts 8 seconds and has an energy cost of 3700. Next is Rocket, who has a base health of 250. His main weapon has 2 modes, Bombard mode and Repair mode. Put simply, he can heal or damage. For his Bombard mode, he can fire 12 rounds per second, with each round doing 16. They can headshot, however, making the absolute max you can do under his pre-tax 384 damage per second, which sounds insanely busted as most tanks only have double this health. But the damage fallout starts at 10 meters and caps at 40% by 20. So realistically, you will probably never be in the position to get the max damage. His heal mode, however, is a little different, as he can shoot bouncing spheres that heal. With 2 rounds per second, each one can heal for 60 per second. He can heal himself as well, which is something that a lot of other supports don't have, although it's only 30 per second on himself. His primary abilities, BRB and Jetpack Dash, are fairly unique, especially with his BRB, which is a placeable, destructible beacon that can revive allies with full health if they die within 50 meters. Additionally, this can give Rocket armor health packs that provide 25 bonus health, and he can even recall this ability. The overall duration is 300 seconds. But if you recall it with more health, the original 45-second cooldown can get as low as 5 seconds with max health. It scales with the health left on it, so if you see somebody trying to damage this, pick it up before then. While his Jetpack Dash lets him dash 10 meters in the direction he's moving with 2 charges, and each charge takes 6 seconds to regenerate. Lastly is his 2 movement abilities, both bound to the jump keybind. One of them allows Rocket to descend slowly while in the air, while the other allows him to crawl around on the wall like a little rat. With these abilities, he can be really annoying to hit. Rocket's ultimate, Siga, is one of the more unclear ones. However, it's actually probably the simplest ult in the game. It's a destructible beacon that gives 40% damage increase. It has 800 health, lasts 12 seconds, and anyone that is receiving the effect should have a visual indicator that looks like a yellow string. Lastly, it costs 3700 energy. Well, that should have you covered on all of the abilities. If you want more videos like this, smash like. If we can get 1,000 likes, we'll make more informative guides like this. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.